Shifting.
Namaste everyone. My name is Vaishali Shah. I welcome each one of you to our session on Hindu culture and lifestyle. You are watching us live on hinduscriptures.com Facebook page. And today we have a very interesting guest. I hope, well, somebody had asked me that I should wait for people to join, but then usually I don't like to waste too much time. So, Guruji, Namaste, Hari Om. Swami Paramatmananda ji is there today. Swamiji.
Yeah.
Hari Om. Swamiji,
Hari.
before we start our session, I would like you to say a prayer because that is our tradition. And after that, we will continue with your introduction.
Om Bhadram Karne Vishnuyaam Devaah Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraah Sthirairangai Istuštuvagum Sastanubihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vruddhashavaah Swastina Pusha Vishwavedaah Swastina Starksho Arishtanemihi Swastino Brahaspatirdadhatu Om Shanti 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 Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Namaste.
Namaste, Swamiji. So before we start our session, I would like to read your introduction to our audience. Give me 2 minutes. You take him from here. I don't want you to be in the screen. Take. Okay. Pujya Swami Paramatmananda is a senior disciple of Sri Swami Dayanand Saraswati and under his tutelage studied in depth Vedanta, Sanskrit and Yoga. During the last 40 years, Pujya Swamiji has been teaching scriptures and has conducted training programs all over India and around the world. Pujya Swamiji is not only an insightful and brilliant teacher, but also a delightful, humble, and compassionate person with a subtle sense of humor. He possesses a unique ability to communicate to all sections of society, corporates, government, devotees, and youth. Pujya Swamiji's personal life reflects a profound commitment to Vedic wisdom and way of life. His fervor towards traditional values and deep sense of commitment towards society is reflected in his work. His personal life reflects simplicity and love for one and all. Those rare qualities have earned him respect and acceptance from one and all. He is the convener and general secretary of Hindu Acharya Sabha India, the collective voice of various Hindu ancient traditions, which has undertaken a number of successful initiatives for the protection of Hindu Dharma and culture. Pujya Swamiji is also the founder of Arsha Vidya Mandir, a center for learning in Rajkot, India, which is in Gujarat. Pujya Swamiji frequently travels the world and has graced numerous national and international events, including the Hindu Jewish Summit, Delhi, Jerusalem, G8 Summit, Canada, Hindu Buddhist Dialogue, World Religions Conference as a keynote speaker at World Religion Conference, UN Geneva, World Hindu Parishad Bali, Interfaith Dialogue for Peace, Harmony and Security, Israel Asia Faith Leaders Summit, Leadership and Spiritual Intelligence Seminar, British Parliament, and the board meeting of World Council of Religious Leaders. He is also a member of the National Committee for the commemoration of 150th birthday anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi ji, Government of India, Government of Gujarat, Adi Shankaracharya Memorial Trust, and Government of Madhya Pradesh, India. So, Swamiji, your introduction is quite interesting and quite varied and different. You know, it's a variety of things. Swamiji, how did you take sannyas and how did you get into this mode of being detached from the regular, household work?
Well, anyone who takes to sannyasa must have had been a sannyasi in previous life. Otherwise, this samskara, like different kinds of samskaras come out according to one's own karma phalas. And the fact that I felt like taking to this life, I think I must have left something in my previous Janma somewhere. And I joined this to continue it further. Well, to be specific, I just happened to meet Puja Swami Dayanandji, my teacher, somewhere in 78. And just one meeting was enough to trigger the thought process. And very next day, I told him that I want to study and join you. Just took 24 hours to take a call. That means there must be something that I had brought forward from Purva Janma. That's how this thought came. Otherwise, so many people meet Swamis. Nobody thinks like taking to this. It is exactly like that Buddha story. Prince Siddhartha just saw an old man, a sick man, a sannyasi, and dead man. And he just became detached. Even though he was fully engrossed in his wife and children and enjoying princely pleasures all throughout. But then that thing got triggered. Otherwise, people working in hospital sees the old man, sees the dead man, and sees the sick man every day. Nothing happens to them. So I must have left my pursuit of moksha somewhere in between last janma, and I picked up and just got into it. And by 80, I had left the home.
Oh, so you never got married and you never started your married life, or what
Somehow,
about
no desire to get involved into relationship at that age. Somehow, though I honestly accept that I was not that clear why I don't want. As such, also one who wants also is not clear sometimes why they want to get into relationship. But I was not clear. At least that much decision was there. I don't want to get into that. That's it.
Okay, so what did you think of Dayanandji? Because I think he happened to be the guru of Narendra Modi ji as well. That's what I've heard. Though I've been to his ashram and spent a lot of time there with Dayanandji. But what is so special about him? I want your opinion about your guru.
He was a great teacher. I would say a teacher of the century, Yoga Purusha. And personal life also, he not only he knew how to handle Shastra and communicate, he lived Shastra also. So he was live example of what he taught to us. And that's why his words were very loaded. The words are like that capsule. Capsule can impact the person only when there is a medicine inside. Capsule itself is nothing, it cannot have anything, impact on anyone. But that medicine, the potency within impacts the person. So his personal life, he lived it, and very, very dexterous teacher, very clear teacher. Thinking was very clear, and thinking was very, you can say, holistic. So within a short span of 2 to 3 years, he gave values, he gave lifestyle, he gave vision. And the best part of it, as I said, teacher. Teacher never orders, do that, don't do that. He never said to us. He just communicated. And it was we who discovered this. And when it is one's own discovery, it becomes permanent. You live up to it, you decide to live. It is not emotional, some outburst that you commit, nor it is somebody says, therefore you commit. It is I who want to do. It is I who want to get this wisdom. That kind of communicative skills and lifestyle he had, that was a unique thing. And those days he had a very far-sighted vision. One of the founder of Vishwa Hindu Parishad, in fact, he wrote its constitution those days, 50 years ago, so 55 years ago. He visualized the need to unite the Hindus. Globally also, he took a lot of initiative, positioning Hindu Dharma at international level with different religions, and they're talking out there. That because he started way back in 80s. Nobody used to go to US. He started ashram there, in a center for learning for our Indian diaspora in US. That's a center now also which teaches dance and music and yajnas and jyotisham and whatnot, Ayurveda and all kinds of activities. At the same time, here also he created such centers. So, very far-sighted person. And he was the one who was accepted by scholars as well as modern intelligentsia. That was a unique thing to be acceptable by traditional scholar. The first Shankara award was given to him by Kanchi Shankaracharya, or Shringeri Shankaracharya.
Interesting. Guruji, my purpose of inviting you to this forum and this platform is that people in this part of the world, they don't know who Shankaracharya ji was and what is his contribution to this whole India's, heritage and the culture and the religion. So today I would like you to introduce the basic concept, whether, what is the definition of Shankaracharya ji, what are the modes and what is the activities, how this tradition has been, going on for so many years, when was he born. So please give us some idea about the whole background of this particular, should we call sampradaya or should we not? It's sampradaya, should we call it
Dharma.
sampradaya?
Dharma. Sampradaya becomes a part, one segment of Dharma, Hindu Dharma. Shankaracharya represented the whole Dharma. You see, first thing, before I get into Shankaracharya, I want you to know what is Hindu Dharma. It is not a set of dogmas, do's and don'ts. It doesn't promise that hereafter you go to heaven and then it's not a tourism promotion business. It doesn't say that they will get those pleasures and those apsaras there and enjoy. So it doesn't talk of artha kama only, primarily kama only. Hindu Dharma is a vision of reality. Okay, it is, when I go to such international conferences and the addresses as the leaders of various faith, I literally get hurt. I am not a leader of faith, I am a leader of teaching tradition. Faith is altogether different thing. And teaching tradition means we communicate vision, and that tradition is sustained for millennia. So, vision of truth was unfolded in this land, and with the grace of the Ishvara, the tradition of communicating the vision is continued even now. And vision of truth of what? Truth of everything. A physicist works to find out the truth of particles. A botanist is researching to find out the truth of plant kingdom. Zoologist finds the truth of animal kingdom. Here the truth of everything. Today, past, here, somewhere else, tomorrow, everything, seen, unseen, known, unknown. And that Shastra reveals that there is only one truth which manifests as many. So Ishvara, the God, is also the manifestation of the same truth. The individual, the Jiva, is also the manifestation of same truth. And the Jagat is also same truth. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, Aikya. One non-dual. So we don't say, all religions say there is one God. We believe in one God. The irony is they say we believe in one God, but my God is the only God. If it is one God, where is my God and your God? And my God is a God and your God is not God. That's why religious problems are. We don't say we believe in one God. We say, not believe, we see there is only God. All creation is nothing but His manifestation. Isha Vasyam Idam Sarva. Siya Ramamay Jagajani Karum Pranam. And since you are in Africa and there are so many Gujaratis, the famous bhajan, Akhila Brahmandama Ekatu Shri Hari, Jujave Rupe Ananta Bhase. Oh, you are the one. Bhase, not to bane. You manifest in many forms. So that vision is Hindu Dharma. To own up the vision, there is a lifestyle. And in one word, if I say lifestyle or an approach to life is life of dharma. Dharma means duty. Hindu lifestyle is a lifestyle committed to duty. From childhood, every home teaches what you should do and what you should not do. This is your duty. Tari faraj hai, faraj hai, faraj hai. That's how we grow. We never tell children, this is your right. And children never demand right. So when you live a life of duty, one attains certain maturity whereby there is a desire to see, desire to know the vision, and one gains necessary capacity to know the truth and approaches a teacher and gains. As the time passes, like the law of entropy, every system, every order, it turns to be disorder. So people learn to give up duties and they find cut corners and then demand rights and all kinds of things. And sometimes other so-called philosophies becomes very enchanting, the person who presents, etc. So people get deviated from duty as well as this vision. So when Shankaracharya ji was born or incarnated on this earth, somewhere about 1200 years ago, people were more committed to Buddhism and few other practices in India. So many practices were there. And there was no emphasis on duty. He traveled up and down, communicated the need of duty-based life. The society turned to the duty life, not rights and all that, and had a dialogue with those different acharyas of different dharmas and unfolded the truth. And the so-called moksha, or the liberation, what we call it, what they call salvation, we don't say hereafter. The Veda says it is you. You are always free. You are Ananda. That means Veda addresses the fundamental problem of every human being, irrespective of caste, creed, sex, religion, nationality. What is it? Each one of us wants to be happy. Nobody wants an iota of unhappiness. Anu matram dukkham me mabhut. Niritasham sukham me bhut. All pravrutti, right from childhood, playing with the toys onwards, they're becoming teenager and dressing up and makeup and all that kind, is to be happy. Even marriage is to be happy. When two persons unite, they look for what? Will this person make me happy or not? Of course, that's all the expectation is. Those expectations often goes wrong. That is also true when two persons, that it goes wrong after marriage. Before marriage, they think it is right, but then it goes wrong. Even the divorce is for being happy. Suicide is for being happy. A person commits suicide because it's too hard. This dukkham and I don't want it. And I hope to be happy hereafter. Our Shastra says, vision of truth is you are happy here and now as you are. So it was not that he vanquished it, the other acharyas and did dialogue. It's a wrong language. He communicated the fact that not something is not to be gained hereafter. It is now, here and now, as you are your happiness. Chidananda Rupaha Shiva. Ananda. You are Ananda. And that tradition he all revived. He as though gave a strength to it and made the people see it. And then not only that, he established 4 institutions in 4 corners of the country. We call it Matha. One in Joshimath, one in the north, Badrinath, near Badrinath. One is in the east, Jagannath Puri. Another one is Srangeri, south, Karnataka. and one in Gujarat, Dwarika. And he put his 4 Shishyas on the Pitha and asked them to propagate each one Veda, Rigveda, Atharvaveda, Rigveda, Sam, Atharvaveda, and they worked in the society so that people live a duty-based life and they kept teaching, communicating. So I belong to that tradition. Then Shankaracharya initiated his 4 disciples, they initiated someone else and taught, and up to me, that and my disciples it has come.
Yeah, but then it was how many years back? When was Shankaracharya ji born? And where was he born?
He was born in Kerala, but those days he traveled almost 3 times across the whole country.
Okay.
Then first time he gave a structure, an odd structure, or sort of giving a lease to Dharma, giving a lease to this wisdom. There are some people, who are so great that they'll give a lease to something. In one word, if I say, Gandhiji gave a lease to truth. Truth was there, but he spoke and then lived up to truth and inspired people, and people got inspired to truth and simplicity. He got lease to freedom. There was a need for freedom. People wanted to be free, but he made them free, and people now own up to freedom. That's kind of.
So, but then by establishing these 4 mutts in different directions, what did he achieve? And then how long he was there? Was he married?
No, he took
Or
to sannyasa at the age of 8. He lived
okay,
as a sannyasa, and that's what he achieved. Today also we are Hindus. Otherwise, we would have been Buddhas and Muslims.
okay.
Like that, we survive as a Hindu. Hindu Dharma survived. Dharma can survive if the Dharmis, the person who follows the Dharma, owns of the Dharma. And he created a sense of pride. The sense of pride can be there only when you have clarity about the things. He gave those necessary clarity. And that's the least he gave.
So, another thing is when it comes to this Guru Shishya Parampara, through which this whole tradition survived in last 2,500 years, what all the scriptures you teach or study, and then uh, and what are the activities happen in the mart? Because I want more and more people to know that where the mutts are located, and they go, like for example, of course, I know Sharda Mutt in Dwarka very well, because that is where I started studying whatever I wanted to study. So similarly, I want people to know how to start. Like if they want to know about Shankaracharya ji, where all they can go and what all books they need to study.
Primarily, Hindu Dharma, the main grantha, pramana is Vedas.
Hmm.
Vedas, according to Veda, means a book of knowledge, vid gnane. And that, according to subject, you can categorize in 2 parts. One is Karma Kanda, another is Gnana Kanda. Means Karma section, Gnana section.
Right.
The Karma section gives a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Lifestyle which is accompanied by certain obligations you are supposed to fulfill.
Hmm.
Pitrudevo Bhava, Matudevo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, etc. Araram Sandhyam Upasita, daily do Gayatri Japa, and this Havan and that Havan, etc. That Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara, this all Karma Kanda.
Hmm.
It also has few rituals, because human mind is always riddled with desires of achieving something. So they give different means, divine means to achieve what you want, money, power, etc., whatever one wants. That's a karma kanda section. And when lives a life of a duty, one becomes mature. And then there is a person is ready for wisdom, that the wisdom of truth. That wisdom is revealed in that body of knowledge, body of words called Upanishad. So primarily one needs to study Upanishad. all those Isha Kena Katha, Ishavasya Upanishad, Kena Upanishad, Katha Upanishad, etc. And Bhagavad Gita is essence of Upanishad, given by Bhagavan himself. One needs to study Gita, if not Upanishad. And as the tradition is so old, the contemporary acharyas, looking at the contemporary society, wrote different granthas to communicate. Like suppose, since you have an exposure of both Africa and India, now when you come to India, you have to talk to Dharma in a different language and different mindset. But if you go to Africa, you have to start with a different thing. There you have to start with basics. And then this is so primary question that they don't know even who Shankaracharya was. So that acharyas of the time at different periods wrote different texts for contemporary society. And some of them are very beautiful. So they are called Prakarana Granthas. And the essence of Upanishad, an essence of Karma Kandas, all do's and don'ts, and all obligations, obligatory duties and attitudes, and all wisdom is contained in our in our history and Puranas. We have a word itihas. Itihasa means thus it was. Iti ha asa. Iti means thus, ha means indeed, means was. And our itihasa is Ramayana and Mahabharata. Rama is not imagination. Pandava is not imagination. This is the land where Pandava literally traveled. Krishna traveled. Rama lived on this land. Those Ramayana and Mahabharata Ityasa reveals those wisdoms and attitudes with characterization, with personification. So it becomes easy to imbibe. Like when Veda says Satyam Vada, that's okay. But speaking truth means what? There is a story of Raja Harishchandra. And if you read the whole story, what sacrifice he gave and how steadfast he was in adhering to truth, etc., one gets inspired. So both the things, what should you and what should you not? There is a character called Dhritarashtra. There is a Dhritarashtra in everybody's mind. When it comes to their son and daughter, there is a double standard. When it comes to someone else, there is a different standard. So that don't be like that. There are two stories, two friendship stories. Krishna and Sudama, and Drona and Prithu, that king, our Draupadi's father, story, Dronacharya's friendship. Then you should not have friendship like Dronacharya, who was the son of a king Prushat and promised everything to Dronacharya. And when Drona went to ask for it, he said, I can't give anything. And when Krishna never revealed that I am Bhagavan, he never said, I am going to be Dwarkadish. But what kind of friend you should be? All that is personified, exemplified, characterized. It becomes good model to inspire. And to have bhakti, there are Puranas, story, Bhagavatam, Ramayana, etc. It's better to study original and start with Puranas and Itihasa. Upanishad and Gita are technical word. And if the word always, any word lends itself for misunderstanding, even a spoken word, because what is heard is filtered by one's own prejudices and notions and concepts. It is not seen as it is. So it's good to study from a competent teacher. If one wants to study Upanishad and Gita, it's better to study. And nowadays, online classes are available. Even though I don't like it, I resisted for a couple of years, but then I also had to join this. So you can join for that.
Shankaracharya ji has written lots of literature. I would like you to give us some names. Like at the end, he has said Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. So
And
why he
one
and
he
how
is
many
it's thing.
pictures he
It's nothing. Practically, he has written stuti for every river, Narmada Ashtakam and Ganga Stotram, etc. He has written for every temple, Vishwanath temple and Badrinath temple, and everything, Yamuna temple and all. And he has written, Bhajgovindam is a very, very primary granth. It's you can say, sometimes you can go and say pre-primary also. It's a kindergarten, LKG, UKG text. He has written commentaries on Upanishads, and he has written Upadesh Shastri and few other texts, which are very loaded texts. And he has
Like, okay.
Ashtam
Now,
on commentary on Vishnu Sastra also.
ah. So that means this literature was already existed earlier than him, and then he has written commentary. So if we see the time, I mean, he was born around 2,500 years back. That means a lot of things were written already before him, which is very interesting for our audience to know, because it's, a lot of time people don't understand the timeline we have. It runs in thousands of years for a lot of things, and for them it becomes little unacceptable things. So because now a lot of
Let me
discussion.
add this one.
Sure.
Unlike other religions,
Hmm.
they are not person-centric religion.
Right.
Not that somebody started 2000 years ago.
Hmm.
Somebody, a son of a god or a messenger of a god, started about 1300, 1400 years ago, 500 years ago. This is a tradition where Bhagavan himself took incarnation.
Hmm.
And even when he incarnated, he was born Hindu.
Right.
Today, Vaishnavas have claimed Krishna.
Hmm.
Krishna
Yes.
was not Vaishnava. He never said, I'm Vaishnava. He was Hindu. He, there is a mention in Bhagavatam that his mother Devaki tells to Vasudeva, okay, now we have to give samskara to our son. He was,
Hmm.
after killing comes, because for certain reasons he had to grow up among the cowherds. So our boy is a
Hmm.
villager. Make him Nagara, samskara, Nagarat, city bred, and
Hmm.
send him to a teacher and to learn Shastra. He was given Yagnopavitam and he went to Sandipani Rishi. The place is still identifiable now in Ujjain. And there is a mention in Bhagavatam, even while living in Dwarka, he used to do Sandhya Vandanam twice, thrice a day. And every day, evening and morning, he will go to beach and not for bath and sunbath. He would go to beach and do Arghya to Surya. Even Rama was born in tradition. Rama was born because of Yagna, Putra Kamashti Yagna. So Vedas are time immemorial. And Rama himself performs Sandhya Vandanam. Vishwamitra teaches him and makes him wake up before sunrise. If you go to Tirupati, they chant Suprabhatam. The very first shloka is from that. Kausalya Suprajarama Purva Sandhya Pravartate Uttishta Uttishta Narashardula Kartavyam Daivamannikam. Nitya karma you have to do. Purva Sandhya, the dawn. The sun has not come out. It is dawn in the morning. Purva means morning. You have to get up early and do your rituals. So why Shankaracharya? Even Rama, 10, 12,000 years ago, minimum, was born as a Hindu in this tradition. He-
That's so wonderfully said, Guruji. This is the reason I love to talk to you, because the point of view you always give it to anything I ask you is so amazing that I deviate. Like now I have to come back to the point to our next question, that because we are discussing about education and shastra based, as in the Indian culture based education system, which is not there at all. So what all is required to do, if the government is doing anything on that, if forget about government, but how and what should be part of curriculum where it should go to, how we can build our nation and the youth based on that. I would like you to throw some light on that.
The beauty or uniqueness of this culture is it is man-making culture, whole infrastructure. Every human being has to live his or her life. We don't live in a Bhagavan's Srushti. We live in our own world. There is always subjectivity. Cow sees the grass and goes and eats. Dog sees a butter or a bread or roti, goes and eats. Dog never says, I don't like this plain bread. I want multi-grain bread. I want this particular bread. I want this cheese and not that cheese and nothing. Whatever it is, they accept it. Human being always interprets every situation. There is always subjectivity. Why I wear this and why you wear this and why this color and this design and access subjective. I like it. And why I don't like this. That is subjectivity. There is no fault. Say somebody says, this is a typical sentence I hear in the West. I hate brinjals. For what fault of brinjal? Why you hate? I love potato. What is there in love potato? It is subjectivity. Therefore, you go for a shopping, there are 200 colors. And suppose you see one color and you talk, what is this color? When you wear this, you look like a joker. But shopkeeper knows there is next person coming who would say, this is the color I was looking for. And the color that you took away, before you somebody had come and said, this is the joker's color. Subjectivity. So rather than situation making you happy, unhappy, we make ourselves happy. There are two types of unhappiness. And discomfort caused by situation. You may be uncomfortable, but not necessarily unhappy. Happiness and unhappiness is due with the way you think. So one has to, way you evaluate the situation. Way you look at. Today, if you see all marital problems is because of not understanding each other. Simple. The way of looking each other. The person feels that I am taken for granted. There is no respect for me. That never happens with the animals and plants and birds. They accept each other as they are. The president's dog doesn't have a hang-up. Bill Clinton had a cat. He doesn't go about raising the tail. I'm presidential cat. But his driver will go about without having a tail. I am president's driver. It's subjectivity. And this is called wisdom of living. Understand? Unfortunately, entire modern society, east, west, north, south, whole world, they give only this wisdom of earning. But just by having money, you don't become happy. Technology has created heaven for us. Our grandfathers and great-grandfathers lived in all literally hell. Electricity was a luxury. Radio was a luxury. Forget about mobile and phone. Cycle was a luxury. But that humanity per se is stressed. You see anxiety, fear, stress, all kinds of problems. Because wisdom of earning we have, not wisdom of living. So twofold wisdom we should have. Our whole culture was such that you learn. You look at yourself, you learn from your parents more than from the school. You learn from your elders, from your grandparents, your uncles, mamas and masas, and you go to them and you learn. Mausi, Phoi, Phupi, everybody taught you. The societal infrastructure gave those values, gave those attitudes. they would fondly tell you, "Beta, don't do this. It is not proper. You should look at this way." Very lovingly, and you pick up the value. You pick up the attitude. You pick up the way of looking at it. You pick up the wisdom. That structure is slowly breaking because of this media aggression. So we have to formalize this in educational system. That's unfortunate. Actually, it is to be given by parents. Like just now you told your son, "Jo beta pranam karo." Even if it is not to be taught in school, if you see a Swami, do pranam. It's a mother. Therefore, first teacher is mother. Therefore, we first say Matru Devo Bhava, then Pitru Devo Bhava, then Acharya Devo Bhava. That's the third one. But society, the parents are also don't know themselves. Sometimes modern parents are so driven by earning and career, they don't attend to children. To have a baby is a responsibility. You are holding a life. You are holding the future of the country, of the dharma, of the world. But they don't attend, so we have to put certain things in education. And it's difficult, almost impossible in India, let me be honest, because what a wonderful constitution we have inherited. We are a secular country. And the word secular has been so politicized that when we were taught alphabet, A, B, C, D, like A, B, K, 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 G. So G was Ganapati ka G. Now they have to write Gadhe ka G. Because minority. In the name of protection of minority, there is an injustice done to majority. There is a resistance to Surya Namaskar. There is resistance to Omkara. So, even if you talk of wisdom of living, it becomes politicized. And there is a constitutional provisions which protects that. You cannot have Saraswati Vandana in the school, government school. There may be some, like in Gujarat, some 40-45 lakh students in primary schools. Out of it, there may be only 3 lakhs or 2 lakhs Muslim students or Christian, non-Hindu. Rest schools may be 100% Hindu schools. But still, it's a government. You cannot have Saraswati Vandana. So Hindu children grew up orphan. Minorities got taught in the madrasas and the church, but Hindus don't get. So that is difficult in India now, very hard. So we are working on a new board like ICIC, etc., where you can introduce Hindu syllabus. And then it's optional. It's a private.
Yes. No, but then if constitution is allowing minorities to teach their culture and their religion, it should be uniform, no? Then what is the purpose of uniform civil code? Because that is what it should allow
It
everyone.
doesn't apply. Uniform civil code doesn't apply. That's a problem in India. They have those privileges. Minority has a privilege to teach religion, and there was so much of privilege that they appoint the teachers of their religion only, even though other person is qualified. And they claim position in others also. A lot of reverse discrimination is there in the name of protection. So we need common civil code. The society has to stand up.
Yes.
But Hindus are very great, very wise. They think we are over wise, and they don't stand up for such cause. When you talk like this, they say you are fundamentalist. Even Hindus say that. Political parties also politicize everything. If there is some rape, then they politicize it as a minority rape. But if it's a Hindu girl or something, there is nothing, no hue and cry. Last year, 2-3 rapes created issues just because it was some minor girl, minority community lady. But there are such a vast country. Something happens somewhere always, but that doesn't become a case to fight. That doesn't become a case to raise voice, but this become a case because of the vote bank. The politicization of the social fabric is so much that it's difficult. And most of the Hindus get carried away by those things.
But my question to you again about this is that Hindu board, like having another Vedic education board or Hindu board, schools will have a choice to pick up that board, right? But again, this we are competing with international boards. We have IG international boards. We have American and British board. So how are we going to compete with them? What will be the benefit for people or students to take up that? Secondly, what about the government schools? The way you said it doesn't allow right now to teach Hindu scriptures to in government schools. So how are you going to address that problem?
Second answer question first. The grace is nowadays government schools are closing. People don't want children. Those who, whatever they afford, they want to go to private schools.
Private school. Okay.
And education is open to private field.
Hmm.
Because now there is you see what you said, you have to compete globally. Everybody has to compete globally. Even Swamis have to compete, no choice. As the word, way back in 90s, late 90s, a new word came when I was taking those corporate workshops and things like that. So there was a word, we live in a global village.
Yeah.
The world is a village, so there is no choice. So now everybody wants English medium schools and children with computer skills and all that. So government schools are vernacular languages and they don't teach English and their computers and then quality of the teaching. So there is a lot of value. Two things have changed in this society. Parents have a value for health. People will spend, even if they can't afford, they will go extra mile to spend for the health, for medical and things like that. And they will spend for children's education. So we are hopeful slowly things will improve and more people will come this way.
Mm.
Secondly, it is we are not against, we have not why not against it, we have no choice. We have to compete globally. We have to raise the standard where our students can stand up at a global competition in terms of professional expertise. But a professional should be a good human being. He or she is the first human being. Then you are a professional. You see, you as a lady should be first as a good, gentle lady. Then you can be good wife. Then you can be good mother. Then you can be good friend. Then you can be good daughter-in-law. But if basically the person is cantankerous, that wife also will be cantankerous. The daughter-in-law also will be cantankerous, So we are not against those global streams and vision. We want that. But at the same time, we have to impart the wisdom of living. And along with that, have wisdom of earning. Nowadays, they teach only wisdom of earning in the name of professionalism.
So then what all things are required to teach? Like, for example, if you have to put up a school which is based on Hindu values and Hindu, what all the subjects you would
Bad
suggest? And
thing is, and simplest thing is, start teaching Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Bhagavatam.
ah, okay.
They provide excellent role model. You see, this is called animation. Western world learned animation just few 100 years ago, like those stories of Donald Duck and Tom and Jerry and Popeye the Sailor and blah blah blah. We had this in Hitopadesha
Mm.
long ago. Those stories of ant and pigeon and jackal and donkeys, all kinds of stories. Similar
Panchatantra.
Panchatantra, etc. So we had those animations. They are the best thing to start with. Start with Panchatantra, Hitopadesh, Bhagavatam, Ramayana, and Mahabharata. Every standard select certain portion for syllabus of graded class. And they learn values. After around teenager, etc., Mahabharata is better because they see the life characters.
Nice characters,
Role
yes.
model is always good. because it inspires more than abstract. Values cannot be taught in abstract sense. You have to provide a role model.
That is very true. So apart from that, earlier our society was based on the jati system, as in the profession-based system. So one community was doing one particular job. So now that thing has perished, and now everyone is doing every kind of job. Like after 30 and 40 years, someone realizes, okay, this is not, I was not fit for this profession, and they just take up as per the market. So in this case, how can we teach, and how do we evaluate that what is good for me? So how we can structure this out, because I
I
feel
mean, it's a very complex thing. Uh, an Indian society lived in a jati, and jati were determined not by birth,
Hmm, hmm,
by attitudes and disposition of the mind. And they picked up the job. This system can work only when the goal is moksha. The goal is artha kama. When they say, I am not cut out for this, means I want more money. Simple as that. Now, why people opt for IT nowadays? Gets you money. Why people opt for medicine first? Gets you money. So now it is very complex. It's very difficult what you are cut out for. And that will never be true also, because today you may seem to be cut out for this, but you change. Everybody changes. Just as the body changes, your values or attitude change. So you are cut out for something else. After 5, therefore they are never settled. Every 5-7 years they feel I am not made for this. My simple thing would be, do something which you love to do. Then you do it excellent. And if you can't find, start falling in love with what you are doing. That's the only way out. Like
yeah.
as a mother, you would appreciate. You love your child. You'll bring up the boy the best possible way. You'll go extra 10 miles to see that the child grows up well because you love it.
Hmm.
So my advice would be fall in love, not with anyone else. Work.
Yeah.
Fall in love with your work and make it best. A lady who loves cooking would be always cooking very delicious things.
That is very true.
So fall in love. That's all.
Swamiji, I want our audience to know about one of your positions, especially Acharya Mahasabha. Of course, I know the importance of that. Please explain something about that so that they know how much work has been happening on the ground level to revive and also to bring all type of gurus or different acharyas together.
This Hindu Dharma Acharya Sabha is a federation of different sampradayas in some few mathas. And the rule is sampradaya should be minimum 200 years old.
Okay.
And the matha, if at all, we have adopted 200 years minimum. And they should have a standing in the society, etc. And should be acceptable, respectable in society, substantially contribution. And another part of the constitution is only and only the head of the sampradaya becomes my member.
Okay.
So all Shankaracharyas, all Ramanujas, all Vallabhas, all Lingayat, Nath, everybody is a member. In a given sampradaya, there may be 3-4 dispute, like Vaishnavas have 8 acharyas, Vallabhacharya, Ashtapita. So we have all 8. We don't go to decide this one or that one. For all the 4 Shankaracharyas are members. So this is a very strategic body. This is not an activist body. This is an advocacy body, policy making body. So if you count in that sense, when I was a secretary general and my teacher was managing trustee cum convener, After he took Mahasamadhi, all Acharya made me convener and managing trustee. Under my belt, there are 35 lakh sadhus. But I deal with the only heads. So we work on policy issues. Like to save, we started with Ram Setu being broken and we saved it. Similarly, we were the one who did movement and created awareness and single voice about World Yoga Day. And we went to Modi ji and suggested him, and of course, he is 10 times smarter than what you expect. He took it to new, different height, which we never imagined. Like that, so many policy issues we are addressing. During last Acharya Sabha, all this was our agenda, 218, Ram Mandir and CAA and NRC and Kashmir and all kinds of things got done. So we work with liaison with RSS and government. And last and the most important thing among all is we always want to be, and we were, and as far as I am alive, we will be face in the crowd. We don't publicize. This is our achievement, nothing. So many projects we have done and we don't want it also. And we think of the whole Hindu Samaj, not a particular sampradaya, not a particular following. Any issue concerning the whole Samaj, we will work for it.
Yes, so I think a few things which are left is uniform civil code and the education system to be changed, because I also have been tracking all the work you have been doing and all our, all those things which were required to do. But I guess these two things are extremely important, and
One
I'm
more,
sure.
you will
Sorry?
come to. One more thing also is there, you will come to know. We are doing groundwork, foundation work, and then slowly we'll see the structure coming up.
Yes, yes.
All Hindu temples are taken over by government.
Okay.
Various temples, Dwarika, our Dakor, our Himalayas, Kamakhya Mata, and then
But what is the purpose and what is the benefit?
Tirupati. All the money that you put in the hundi goes to government.
No, but it already goes there. People, we wanted to free from the government, isn't it?
But that's what we are working on it.
Okay. Yes, yeah, this was also one of the issues. Yes, I forgot that we need to free our temples and the
That's
traditions.
what we have started. That because of COVID, it got postponed for 1 year. Now we just started. Last week only I had a symposium with 13, 14 senior bar from Supreme Court and 2, 3 retired judges. And we have filed a case way back in 2012. Now we are working on it, the scheme, and the whole nation has to join. All Hindus have to join.
Definitely, Swamiji, because donation goes to the temple should be used for the temple's projects.
Not
And
temple project, Hindu project.
Hindu, of course, yes,
Our
Hindu.
bottom line is Hindu money for Hindu cause.
Hindu causes, yes, yes. And some sort of accounting is important. But apart from that, not a single penny should be taken from the temple to any other body, because originally, traditionally, that was our system. The temple money was supposed to be with the temples. But Guruji, thank you so much. I know you are really late. I've taken more time than you had given me. I still have some questions left, but I'm not very sure if you have time to answer
I
them.
think we'll have one more session. I'll give you something.
Sorry?
I'll give you time in April. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
My internet is fluctuating, Swamiji.
Okay. You switch off your video. So at least audio you can have. Can you hear me now?
Swamiji, my
Can you
net
hear?
was disconnected for a second. I missed what you said.
I said I'll give you 1 more hour in April. I have some other important commitment to go somewhere and address by 8 o'clock. It's
Yes,
already.
yes.
So
Yes.
pardon for now. Whatever left over, we'll somewhere in mid-April, we'll sit again.
Sure.
Or the third week of April or something.
Okay, sure, sure. Thank you so much for your time and wisdom you have shared. Thank you so much, Hari Om Swamiji. Hari Om.
Welcome, and I'm happy for you. You are doing
Thank
great.
you.
Keep doing. You are working for Dharma, and you have reached out to quite a number of people. So wish you very
Sorry.
good luck that you may
Thank,
grow in terms of
thank
reaching as well as
Yes,
in your personal life. Keep growing as a Hindu.
yes, yes.
Namaste.
That is very true. Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste. Namaste.